Now there's a fishing rig that I don't think is thrown nearly often enough by every angler. And no, I'm not talking about a jig, a crankbait, oh my God, or even a topwater. Those are all fun and great ways to catch bass, but this one right here, I believe is majorly slept on. I'm talking about a presentation that I only thought was useful in the summer and the winter times, the polar opposites, cold water and warm water. And boy, do I think I've been wrong. My name's Tyler, and let's talk about it. Another giant, another giant. Look at that, y'all. I can't believe what I just caught. Yes! Okay, I'm gonna cut straight to the chase. The presentation, the rigging I'm talking about in today's video that even I am doing the sleeping on is the drop shot. And if you wanna exit the video now after you've heard what I'm talking about, go ahead. But I feel like there's a lot to talk about and you won't wanna miss this episode, especially the second half of the episode. Some awesome fish catching, proving exactly what I'm talking about. Now, today's video is brought to you by my own merch brand. Now, when it came to making YouTuber merch, I wanted it to not just slap Tyler's Real Fishing on there. I wanted it to have a deeper meaning, and that is what Infinite Outdoors is all about. The name has two meanings. One, there are infinite ways to have fun and make memories in the outdoors. That's meaning one, but as a man of faith, my trust is in a God who loves us infinitely, and that infinite love is displayed through Jesus Christ dying for us on the cross, and that sacrifice is open to everybody to accept. So if you want to check it out, I will leave it linked down in the video description. We've got hats, we've got sweatshirts, we've got sun shirts, the softest pullover sweatshirts you've ever worn. And I promise y'all, I am not trying to become a millionaire off my merch. I price it as best as I possibly can. I just want you guys to have a cool piece of clothing that's associated with the TRF family of brands, but also has a deeper meaning to it. So let's talk about the drop shot. Now, I feel like lure selection for most of us is heavily dependent on our past success. What I mean by that, let's take an example. If you normally catch fish, you have success on a spinnerbait when it's really windy outside, what are you probably gonna do if the wind is blowing tomorrow? You're probably, again, based on past experiences, tie on a spinnerbait first. That's gonna be the lure you reach for first because you've had experience and success using it. And whatever the scenario is, our past experiences are really hard to overcome, and that's what I truly think is kind of the marker of the best, most mature anglers out there, is those who are able to take their past and say, forget about that for just a second, I'm gonna take a brand new look at the conditions in front of me and maybe select a lure or a presentation or a color or an action that I've never really tried before or I haven't tried in this scenario. And the drop shot for me has always been a lure based on the education that magazines and videos have always told me, as well as just where I've thrown it. It's kind of an extreme lure for me. So extreme cold, extreme warm, winter and summer, where the bass are the deepest they're gonna be, whether they're cruising the bottom fast in the summertime, feeding up, or just sitting down there, sulking in the winter cold down there on the bottom. That's what the drop shot has been for me, and probably in the vast majority of drop shot instructionals I've had on this channel, I've told you guys that's the only time it's really good for. Now, I can think of like one or two 100 and 200 ponds episodes that I've thrown a drop shot in a time that wasn't the extreme weathers, because when it came to the springtime of the year, I would take this lure, snip it off, and replace it with lures like a larger Texas rig, a bigger paddle tail swim bait, topwater frog sometimes if it's been warm enough, and of course moving baits like vibrating jigs and the hybrid hunter. And as evidenced by the 13 years I've been doing this on camera, those lure switches from drop shot to larger soft plastics in the springtime has worked for me. No complaints on my side. But just because I've had success in putting down the drop shot for the majority of the springtime doesn't mean that was always the right choice. And the possibility of that, of myself being in the wrong here, was no more on display than on the recent Major League Fishing Pro event in Waco, Texas. At both lakes they fished, Lake Whitney and Lake Waco, they were faced with pretty tough springtime conditions. Tons of wind and a decent amount of rain. And to me, the obvious choice of lure, the category that I would pick first in those conditions, given wind, slightly stained water, lots of rocks and sticks and boat docks, tons of stuff on the bank to fish, I would go with reaction baits. So your crankbaits, your vibrating jigs, spinner baits, and paddle tail swim baits. And don't get me wrong, pros caught fish on those throughout the week, and some even advanced to the next rounds using exclusively those. But for the most part, the anglers who did really, really well and made a top 10 in that tournament on both lakes fished this category of lure, even though to me,
it didn't make the most sense. Again, I thought a spinnerbait would far outperform a drop shot, and a vibrating jig would far outperform a wacky or a Nico rig, and that just wasn't the case. And so watching all this made me think, have I been wrong about the drop shot in my bass fishing experiences? And yeah, I have. And so here in a second, I'm gonna go to what I'm gonna call now the prove it section of my video, where I take the technique I talked about, I actually go on the water and show you a recent fishing day where I prove I know what I'm talking about. But I feel like some of you guys who are in the same boat as me, as in you fish a drop shot, but during a different time of the year, a lot of y'all may be in a totally different boat where a drop shot is a foreign concept to you. And so I wanna take 1 second to show you guys kind of the concepts and the key things you need for a drop shot in the springtime, and maybe how that differs from summertime and wintertime drop shotting. So the number one thing you're gonna need is a spinning rod. Can you throw it on a bait caster? You can. Of course, BFS, the more light taper style of bait caster, makes it easy. For the most part, a drop shot is a spinning rod technique. It helps with getting longer casts and having better control of your worm, and spinning rods in general are more sensitive rods. The blanks are more built for finessey type things, so I would just go with a spinning rod. As always, my tackle is linked down in the video description, so I've got the Illuze Custom Light. I believe it's a 6'9" medium light, extra fast, amazing drop shot rod, especially for a small drop shot. So let me get it back off the keeper here. I'm not sure why I put it on there. Now, as far as line goes on your spinning rod, I talk about this over and over again, but maybe some of y'all don't know about the kind of new age of how to fish with a spinning rod, and that is a braid main line to a fluorocarbon or a monofilament resin, whatever resin type you like, leader line. That just helps get extra long cast. Braided line is a thinner line diameter per pound test. So I've got 21-pound braid here. It is Seaguar PEX8. It's a relatively thick pound test, 21 pound, but it is so dang thin. Again, long cast, and I've got 12-pound Seaguar pounce. Most of the pros I showed B-roll catches of are probably not throwing 12. They're throwing 15 or even 17-pound line because the water was not all that dirty, but you don't want to go straight braid on your drop shot. It just doesn't give as good of a feel as of a fall for the drop shot worm as a resin line that sinks does. You're gonna need a hook, you're gonna need a weight, and you're gonna need a worm. The hook style that I'm gonna go with for this style of fishing is not your standard mom and pop drop shot with a small circle hook and you nose hook the soft plastic. This needs to be fished relatively weedless style. So you're gonna go with a wide gap or a straight shank worm hook, size 1/0 at the largest. I like a size 1. This here, my favorite one and the favorite of many pro anglers out there, even if they're not sponsored by this hook. I promise a lot of them are using it, and that is the VMC Redline Finesse Nico hook. It's awesome because it has a PTFE coating and it's so smooth. It just glides into their mouth. That's the best way I can put it. I don't know how well y'all can see this. I may just have to put B-roll on the screen of a different time that I rigged it, but you're gonna tie a Palomar knot and pull a lot of line onto your rigging to make a big loop. Or I guess what I mean by that is just leave a long tag end. And once you've tied onto your hook and you have that long tag end, I would say in the summer or winter time, the tag end should be anywhere from 1 to 2 feet. But in the spring, I found the fish wanted a little bit closer to the bottom, and that's, as again, I was paying attention, that's what most of the pro anglers had on their boat decks, was like a 6 to an 8-inch leader. Then you poke the line through the top of the eye. That way, when you hold your line, the hook stands straight up and down like that. Next, you're gonna grab your drop shot weight, is a teardrop style usually. And for this scenario, I would say go lighter than you think you probably should. So 1/16 ounce weight to maybe 3/32 at a maximum, but 1/8 ounce is a really good one, especially for most of you shallow fishermen or bank fishermen. So I'm gonna go about 8 inches right there, pinch the line. You can tell from the weight to the hook, dang short. And even though the weight has a little crimp on there for the line, I have found that is never reliable, so I go ahead and tie a few overhand knots. Snip off the remaining leader that's on the end of your weight, and then the important part, or I guess the last important part, is your worm. You want any kind of straight tail finesse worm. Any kind of natural color is fine, green pumpkin, black and blue, whatever you want. And because you are fishing it around a lot of the same places you would be throwing a Texas rig or a spinnerbait, where you kind of want a more weedless approach, you're gonna rig this thing just like you would a Texas rig. And especially if you're pitching it around bushes, whatever, you want to make sure you really what's called Tex pose that hook, where you kind of poke it through and then put it right back in. That way you can run your finger down and not get hooked. And that right there is a springtime drop shot setup, one that I have slept on for the longest time. I mean, I was snoozing through my alarms on this thing, but watching all the pros truly commit to this thing and catch a lot of fish and a lot of good fish doing it made me realize even in scenarios that I haven't been throwing it, I probably should give a second thought. So that's how we rig it. Let's head down to the pond to give this a try in my first official prove it section.
Okay, so as you can tell, the conditions today don't exactly scream traditional, you know, calm water, clear water drop shot, but just like the pro anglers were doing, we're committing to throwing the boring stuff to see if we can get more bites, either from bigger bass or more bass in total on the boring stuff, the drop shot. And yes, I did say we because we have Taylor Cam.
Hi.
So exact conditions, they should be spawning in this pond near the house. It looks like Taylor, this is his home pond. He fishes here all the time. Is the water dirtier than usual?
Yes.
Okay, slightly dirtier, but it was blowing in the footage that I showed you guys, and Jesse Wiggins and all those guys were still catching them on the drop shot. So we've got 2 packs each of the Striking filler worm and some extra stuff in case we get snagged, but we're just gonna cast it out there. I say cast. Like I said, we're gonna just pitch it out there, slowly drag, and catch the bass. Taylor Cam.
Whoa.
Whoa.
Thank you.
It's really windy. Yum. I wonder if putting the worm in your mouth at all during the rigging process actually makes the fish not want to eat it. You know, it gets that human scent on there. First little pitch. I doubt they're making beds any further out than 25 feet.
What are the chances you have a heavier weight?
Yes. You want one?
Yeah.
Why?
There we go.
We don't need a heavier weight. Goodness gracious. I need to tighten my drag though. Get in here. Get in here. Yes, sir.
That's a solid
Yes.
one.
That was legitimately first cast.
Yeah. Let's go.
Oh my goodness. Y'all, look at the fatness of that bass. 2.5 pounder filler worm, side of the mouth. And I don't know if you saw it on the rod tip, but I knew that that was a bite when I got it. Just literally shaking, feeling it. Donk. That's fun. That is fun. And I didn't expect to get this kind of action right away. And there's a reason why I don't have a heavier weight on here, which I either talked about earlier, or I haven't filmed the earlier part yet. I feel like it's a lot more natural of looking presentation by having an 1/8 ounce as opposed to heavier. Now, do you still want a heavier weight?
No, I'm good for now.
He's rethought his decision. And like I said, a long cast is not necessary during the spawn cycle time of the year because the bass, unless you have a huge flat or maybe it's deep by the shore and somehow shallower on a hump, the bass are just not gonna be far out there. So a simple little pitch roll cast out there is all you need. You can make more presentations that way, be more effective. Now, could a spinnerbait or a chatterbait or a swim bait have caught that fish? Possibly, but I think there's a benefit. And again, that's maybe why most pros are doing this in a pressured situation. This pond, a lot of anglers fish here. The fact that nobody's here today is surprising, but I think there are huge benefits to having this kind of a setup in a pond like this during this time of the year. And I didn't do this nearly enough the last few years. And that changes today. Hey, and if y'all watch the channel a lot, you know that when I bring Taylor Cam on the channel, usually he catches one first. So I'm proud of myself that I got the first bite.
There's one.
Right on the edge. Oh, I had one. I had one just now. He was swimming to the side with it. Normally, you wouldn't think drop shot territory, but I'm telling you, it is.
Thankful for him.
Oh, there we go. This is unreal. This is unreal. I haven't moved yet. A drop shot is the way to go, either if you're struggling to catch fish or you just want to catch more in general. This is crazy. I feel so dumb for not having this tied on 12 months of the year.
They bite in a drop shot.
Yeah, they are. And I'm talking like right on the edge.
Yeah.
And as y'all can tell from my retrieve, I mean, I'm not doing much to it. Honestly, I'm doing even less to it than I would in a big, deeper body of water, especially with the wind blowing into us right now. The drop shot is gonna have a whole lot of action just by keeping your rod tip totally straight up in the air. The 1/8 ounce weight is kind of keeping it close to the bottom, but especially with a lot of current, it's gonna move a little bit. Totally fine by me. Oh, uh-oh.
Hey!
He stole my bass.
Sorry. I thought you fished there already.
I did.
Oh.
And I'll have you know, this is not a private pond we're fishing. We are showing that even on a pressured public pond, the drop shot this time of year can work wonders. I feel like I'm being so monotonous. Okay, well, I feel like we've fished out this area. Let's move on down a little bit. Ooh. Nice one. Nice one. Get in here. Get in here. Oh my gosh. Oh, it's a pond killer, come on. Ugh, he's been caught a few times. I think Taylor has caught this bass a number of times. But just look at the way that VMC finesse Nico hook got him. Goodness. Just a little 2-pound chunk. Thank you, buddy. Now, I'm gonna have a 200 Ponds episode coming out in the next few weeks talking about the wacky worm, but again, like I said on the sit-down studio part, wacky worm, Nico rig, drop shot, shaky head, all kind of in the same category. I just think a drop shot is the most underrated one, that if you've got open water and not a whole lot of snaggy stuff, drop shot can definitely be the best option for. And this worm is now officially toast. I could bite it another time and I'd lose like 2 more inches, so I'm just gonna get a new one. Again, as always, my tackle is linked in the video description. Strike King filler worm being my favorite one for the warmer months of the year. I like the Super Finesse 4-inch Elastec for when it's really cold outside. I feel like it just suspends in the water better, but if I want it to actually fall, I'll throw this salt-infused one. Let it sit there, then shake, 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 shake. Let it sit there, shake, 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 shake. I was thinking hopping that right on the edge, just hop, 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 hop. And this little single scooper gave it a nibble. Like I said in the sit down portion, it is risky to throw this thing up against, and if not in, shallow cover, and you're gonna lose some fish doing it. But man, I just don't think the fish oftentimes see this kind of presentation right next to the thick stuff they're living near or making their beds near.
Dude, they are on the edge.
Yeah, it's almost like I could crappie cane pole and just jig them right here. I'm gonna try that. Old school flip. Let it sink. What, 2 foot of water, shake, shake, shake. Nothing there. Walk down the bank, flip it. You gotta be kidding me. You gotta be joking me. You gotta be kidding me. I'm in shock that that just worked. Strike King filler worm on the drop shot, down the mouth. Taylor had just said that they're on the edge, and I said yes, we confirm they are. Matter of fact, let me try the most edge fishing technique possible. Literally flipping my deal and giving it a shake. Unreal. You see my technique there?
No.
Oh, you'll see it in the video.
What'd you do?
I'm crappie flipping it.
Oh, really?
Cane pole style. I mean, talk about an efficient way to fish down a bank like this. I think though if I'm doing this, I probably should have put on a 15-pound leader. 12 was a little ambitious. Hey chat, clip that please.
Oh yeah.
Hey, that was about as close to the crappie pitch as I could get. The males are out in full force, my friends. We are on a single scoop and 3/4 scoop bag. But even on a light hook set, not even a business casual, I'm talking like what your kid wears to Sunday school. That's the kind of hook set we're going for here. See, we're even making Taylor a drop shot believer. There we go. Got him. Now, if you're a swim bait purist who hates catching single scoop bass, this is probably not the tip for you. Keep chunking your dang Citizen 8-inch bottom swim bait. Oh, ooh.
Oh, that's a big one, dude.
Heck yeah. Get in here. Oh my gosh, chunky.
That's more than a single scoop.
Come show that scoop to the camera.
Look at that little bloody tail. Pretty fish.
And was that literally on the edge? No, that was farther out.
Yeah, that was a little out there.
Well, shoot dang, we're having a good time.
I feel like they always bite it when it's sitting there.
Yeah, it's hardly ever when I'm actually shaking it.
Yeah.
Like I've finished shaking and they're like, oh, now it's vulnerable. Now something on that retrieve felt different. Like it didn't feel like it was hitting a stick. So I'm gonna give it another pitch. I told you something felt different. Goodness, that was fun. That was fun. Pay attention, folks, and get you a sensitive rod. I've always talked about this whenever folks have asked me over DM which one is better to spend money on, a spinning rod or a bait casting rod. The vast majority of the time I answer a spinning rod because you want a nice sensitive rod for your finesse tactics, and so I'll talk about the combo here in a second. But look at that beautiful black spot on the head and on the tail. Little pretty male, dark red bottom. Male on a bed. And that weird rock stick feeling thing was that bass sucking it in and spitting it out in like a split second. And if I wasn't paying attention and had a combo like this, Lou's Custom Light, my favorite drop shot and small shake in a minnow length, power, and action is 6'9", medium light. And I always loved the Elite series line of Lew's rods, but I believe now we're either getting rid of them soon, and if not that, they're like $400. And trust me, it's a nice rod, but the custom light for $130, I believe it is a heck of a rod. So sensitive, so light and custom, I guess. And it's probably time to retie my leader. I feel a little nick right there, but we're having a good time. You know what? If I break off a 6-pounder, then I'll give myself a face palm. Ooh,
That's actually a big one.
Yeah, it looks like it.
A bigger one. It's not that big. It's not that big. I got excited. When you catch a decent one, after you've been catching a bunch of 1-pounders, it feels really big.
Yeah, it does. Hey, that's a 3-pounder.
Yeah.
2 3/4.
2 3/4.
So healthy.
Solid one.
On the edge.
Yep.
Crazy.
As close as you can get.
Wow. Not usually drop shot territory. Ooh. Ooh.
Whoa.
Ooh. Goodness gracious. Goodness
Big?
gracious. That's a big one. That's a big one. That's a big one. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That was awesome. That was awesome. Get in here. Yes, sir. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh. 7-foot medium light. not quite good enough to really feel like I was in control. But red line hook, corner of the mouth was enough to catch him. Dang, 4-pounder. I'm talking, I made the shallowest pitch I've made yet. Parallel to the bank, 1.5 foot of water max.
That boy thick.
That boy thick. Actually, probably girl. One more look at a beautiful 4-pound Texas springtime chunk. I mean, look at the thickness of that fish. See you, big girl. Thanks for spawning within 4 feet of the bank. This bite is on.
Yeah.
Holy cow. Oh, uh-oh, I'm out of worms though. Do you have any worms left? Thank you. Got him. Got him. Feels
Got
nicer.
his butt.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
Biggin?
3-pounder at least.
Oh yeah, boy.
Get in here. Oh my gosh, I gotta tighten my drag a little bit. We're having fun. Look at just the stockiness of that bass. Honestly, this is the most beautiful lighting I've had in a very long time. So enjoy it while it lasts, because before we know it, the sun's gonna be blasting and you can't see anything in the background, but just a gorgeous, gorgeous 3-pound Texas beast. Mwah! Thanks for biting the drop shot and proving that we don't throw this thing nearly enough. Well, folks, I got to the end of the video and realized I didn't film an outro, so here we are. Thought that I would talk one more time about the rods that Taylor and I used. He had the 7-foot or 610 medium extra fast KVD Elite spinning rod, and I had the 6'9" medium light custom light. I would say if you have more cover, I guess sticks and grass and stuff to get fish over on finesse tactics, a medium rod isn't as sensitive, but it does have a little more oomph, a little more power to get over that kind of stuff. So that's why he was able to get fish through the grass easier than I was, but I definitely felt the bites a lot more than he did. But either way, both of them work, and I will have them linked down in the video description. If you like the video, go ahead, hit that subscribe button. If you're brand new here, I will leave 2 other finesse fishing related topics, or maybe a spring Texas rig, and then the drop shot masterclass. Either way, 2 videos that will help you. The longer y'all stay on the channel, the more it helps me in the algorithm. My name's Tyler. As always, it's a dang pleasure. Don't underestimate the drop shot any longer like I did, and we'll see y'all next time right here on TRF.